Chapter 2, The Journey Through Life, Childhood. The journey begins. To be able to enjoy childhood should be every child's right. To see each day as a new beginning, an adventure full of wonder and awe, was what my childhood was all about. I was born in 1960 in Motherwell, an industrial town in the west of Scotland. I was the middle child of 3. My older sister June was 6 years older, and my younger sister Moira was 2 years younger. Childhood memories. The first memories I can recall are of my Uncle Alec's beautiful garden at Cumbry Drive in Motherwell, with its pristine roses, gorgeous gladioli and marigolds. In his back garden, he had a carpet beater pole, which we used to swing round and whirl around. I remember the little flower beds at the back door, which had shell-decorated borders. In his garden hut, there were always onions or spring onions hanging to dry, and we used to joke that we were going to buy him a bicycle, berry and stripy top, so that he could sell his produce. He also grew strawberries, beetroot, rhubarb and kale. 2 doors along from my uncle's house lived a lovely Welsh lady with a kind heart and a love for people. Her warmth, compassion and zest for life remains with me to this day. In her company, the world always seemed bright, happy and safe. Mum, Dad, my 2 sisters and I lived in a newly built housing complex called MacLeod Court, situated at the other end of the town. It was a flat-roofed building in the beginning, but someone, somewhere, realised that flat roofs are not ideal in Scotland due to the amount of rain, snow and frost. The council eventually added an appropriately designed peaked roof. The building itself was otherwise well designed for families. We had a balcony off the living room and a balcony off the larger bedroom. To access our home, we used a communal landing, which we all had to maintain the cleanliness of, as well as the close area. At 9 years old, I remember having to wash down the close and landing with the help of my 2 sisters, as it was our turn. The base of the building consisted of pensioner flats, small and compact, with a tiny lounge, bedroom, kitchen, and bathroom with a half-sized bath. The next floor where we lived had 2 stories, and these residences were termed as maisonettes. We had 2 bedrooms, whereas the accommodation at the sides of the building were designed to house larger families and consisted of 3 bedrooms and were all on the one level. The building was abuzz with young families. At the rear of the property, we had pram shelters, but no one dared keep a pram in them as they were damp, fusty, and crawling with spiders and woodlice. These outbuildings also contained the bin shelters, which were always overflowing and pungent with rotten debris. We had communal drying greens where we used to hang out our washing on a sort of informal rota basis. These drying greens were also where we played pole tig. There was always the sound of children playing hide and seek, chapdoor run fast, or playing at peaver, skipping ropes and elastic ropes. I realised, however, that no one seemed interested in playing skipping ropes with me after my tooth brace fell to the ground with a clatter whilst I was skipping. As it appeared to be an alien object which had appeared from nowhere, everyone screamed and ran indoors, leaving me feeling somewhat lonely, rejected and abandoned. This left me with a bit of a complex, but I was never really good at skipping anyway. On rainy days, we held concerts in the middle close area. Again, everyone seemed to head indoors when I got the opportunity to sing. But hey, we couldn't all be the Neil Reeds or Lena Zavaronis of our day. Rainy days were also good for playing ball in the close, and my younger sister Moira was excellent at this. All she needed were 2 rubber balls or tennis balls. Her favourite rhyme to accompany her juggling skills were as follows: a house to let, a ply within, a lady put out for drinking gin. For gin, you know, is a very bad thing. As I go out, and my neighbour comes in. The tennis or rubber balls had then to be skillfully caught by the next player. I suppose it was a bit like relay races without the baton. The ball games really seemed to upset the residents, and there were many complaints as the constant thud of a ball hitting the wall echoed far beyond the close area. This did not deter us from continuing to play this delightful game, even after the no ball game sign was displayed. Honestly, do grown-ups always feel a compulsion to complain about everything? Where was their joie de vivre? Many of the girls went to electrocution lessons on Monday. So after a great deal of nagging and persuasion, I was also allowed to go to elocution lessons, but I really didn't know what it entailed. I stupidly thought it was along the lines of gymnastics or something similar. This is where my love of poetry and literature began. Mrs. Crosby was an excellent teacher, and I managed to sit and pass every exam grade through the London College of Music, achieving my associateship in 1977. Little did I know that this qualification and associated study of poetry and literature would be so important to my personal life, career, and mindfulness teachings. The elocution lessons also led me to enjoy drama and to take part in performances at the Drama Festival held by DL High School annually at Cleland Estate. My acting skills were recognised by our head teacher, Mr. Scobie, who nominated me for a scholarship from the Motherwell and Wishaw Round Table to travel to Austria with the older pupils to study Mozart and practice my German speaking skills. Jawohl. I always found staying away from my home and my family quite stressful, although my trip to Austria proved to be educational and enjoyable. On my return, I had to give a presentation to the Motherwell and Wishaw Round Table, explaining what I'd gained from receiving the scholarship, which was quite a daunting experience for me at 14 years of age. I was accompanied by my father, so all was right with the world, as he always instilled in me the confidence to succeed. I remember going to Kerswell College with the Geography Society and going hill walking and orienteering with one of our very handsome teachers, Ross Davidson, the PE teacher, who starred in EastEnders as Andy the nurse. He was also a dancer on the television programme called Thingamajig. On this week-long visit, I experienced quite a number of new things. What powdered scrambled egg tastes like, and how your feet feel after walking miles in hiking boots, which are 2 sizes too big, and how it feels to touch a farmer's fence, which has an electric current running through it. Ouch! I also learned how your imagination can run riot when your schoolmates are telling scary stories about patients escaping from the nearby state hospital in Carstairs with the sole purpose of murdering us in our beds. Imagine the screams when our teacher came to the dorm to check that we were all safely tucked up in our beds for the night. My mother wrote to me and said how much I was missed by the family and that even the budgie was struggling without me. This reduced me to tears, but I only cried under the covers at night for fear of others in the dormitory laughing at me. Holidays. My family was privileged to have a car, and this led us on many journeys to destinations which were new and inspiring. We would spend our summer holidays at faraway places, such as Dollyshwarren in Devon, Clacton-on-Sea, Southend-on-Sea, Great Yarmouth, Skegness and Blackpool. I have many fond memories of these vacations which remain with me and have influenced the way that I view the world. It is amazing the things that stick in your mind. I remember being on the big wheel at Great Yarmouth with fantastic views of the entire resort. The time we spent sailing along the Norfolk Broads and having to moor every 10 minutes as the 3 greenish bananas I had eaten in quick succession were causing havoc with the digestive system. The day my younger sister Moira adopted a live ladybird as a pet and kept it in a matchbox. This matchbox was left in a cafe, and embarrassingly the entire family returned to the venue to ask of its whereabouts, as Lady, who was now a family member, had gone astray. We were all devastated when the matchbox and its precious inhabitant had vanished without trace. The time our dad gave us £1 each to spend on the amusement machines, and the look on his face when he returned after 15 minutes to see that we had spent all of it. The vacation in the converted railway carriages in Dawlish Warden, when we emptied our pinky and perky piggy banks to buy something special from the toy shop. The look of sheer frustration and murmurings from my mother for buying 2 identical books, shaped like grandfather clocks with moving hands, so I could teach my younger sister how to tell the time, has never left me. After all, the teacher always has to have her own copy of the book she is teaching from. The trip to Devon when we lost my uncle's dog Sandy at the motorway service station en route, only to find him under someone's table being fed titbits. The time when I won first prize in the talent contest at the caravan site at Clacton-on-Sea, 2 weeks in succession for singing badly. The 3 occasions when I got lost on the beach and my name was announced on the loudspeaker to be collected by my demented parents. The disgusted look on my mother's face when I approached her with a worm on a safety pin, which the lovely couple at the next door caravan gave me to eat out of. Welts were not regarded as a delicacy by my mother. The caravan holiday at Bine Hill in Ayrshire, where I kept falling in the river, as stepping stones required good balance. This always resulted in me having to spend the rest of the day without footwear, as I only had 1 pair of gutties. The day a gypsy approached my father on the beach and asked him to buy some wares. His refusal to buy anything led to an exchange of words, with the gypsy cursing and telling him that he would not see his 52nd birthday. Perhaps it's just coincidence that he died at the age of 51. Remembering. Memories from childhood include my first day at primary school, being puzzled by the children around me crying. I didn't find the need to cry, but when I turned around to wave to Mum, I discovered that she was crying. I remember being given a small blackboard and told to draw continuous E's. We were then instructed by the teacher to draw the opposite, like upside down E's. I simply turned my little blackboard around and showed the teacher. She had a look of sheer frustration on her face. I think I realised very early on that you can achieve the same outcome with a minimum effort by just simply using your initiative. However, it appeared that this was obviously not to be encouraged at Glencairn Primary School. My first arithmetic lesson entailed the teacher drawing a house on the main blackboard at the front of the class. She drew a line and illustrated that there were 2 floors in the house and the house contained 10 people. If 5 people are upstairs, how many are downstairs, she asked. Simple. The feeling of delight and pride when Miss Cormack placed my first poem on the classroom wall in primary 3. The donkey. Once I saw a donkey riding by the sea, and oh, it was so pretty, much prettier than me. The beautiful summer's day that we sat in the playground in small groups and learned how to work a sundial. We had to draw lines on a piece of paper every 15 minutes to show that the shadow of our homemade sundial had moved. I suggested to my group that we could achieve more lines on our piece of paper if we simply kept moving the dial. On discovering our experiment, the teacher appeared to be having a fit of rage. Honestly, didn't she realise that 15 minutes is a long time in a child's life to be sitting doing nothing? The day my older sister June won first prize in a knitting competition, and how proud I was of her. The time we spent playing on the building site, rolling the drainage pipes with one person inside, whilst the rest of us pushed, and accidentally running the concrete pipe over my sister Moira's finger. The time I sat on chewing gum in the Duchess Park whilst wearing my new pink hot pants and having to wear a heart-shaped patch to cover the damaged material for the rest of the summer, as it was perfectly clear to me that I wasn't getting a new pair. The day I spent with Dad when he was dying of lung cancer, reading aloud Cider with Rosie by Laurie Lee. The beautiful sunny afternoon that I jumped in a pile of soot on the waste ground beside our house, and my mother washing me in the kitchen sink as my friends sniggered outside the kitchen window. The day the whole family went to the opening of the Forth Road Bridge in 1964. The morning I opened the pram shelter door after being on holiday for 2 weeks, to find that my sister's bike had been stolen. The sunny summer evening that my dad bought me a piano for £5 and wheeled it to our house from the next street. The day the head teacher at primary school asked me why I hadn't taken my bicycle to be checked by the police for roadworthiness on Saturday morning. To which I boldly replied, "I don't own a bike." "Why did you sign up to take part in the cycling proficiency programme then?" he shouted. "I didn't know I needed a bike to take part," I sheepishly replied. "Are you completely stupid?" he yelled. At this, he stormed out of the classroom. Honestly, grown-ups can be so childish. The afternoon, my friend Yvonne from primary school invited me to her house after school to smoke cigarettes. She lived in the posher private houses known as Bearable's estate. "Bring your own cigarettes," she said. So for 2 weeks, I collected cigarette ends from the ashtrays at home and hid them behind the bedroom curtain. At Yvonne's house, I had just shakily lit my first cigarette end and was taking my first puff when my sister Moira arrived on the scene. Imagine her face when she caught sight of me with the cigarette. My face was also a picture. She ran all the way home to climb to my parents before I had the opportunity to stop her. That was the first and last time I smoked cigarettes. My sister, probably on hindsight, saved me from becoming a chain smoker. The shame I felt at that time was quite overwhelming. The day my younger sister Moira and I appeared on Songs of Praise in 1966, walking from the church into the Sunday school at St Mary's Parish Church in Motherwell. The night my older sister June won first prize at a Halloween party for her outstanding costume, which she has spent weeks decorating using silver foil milk bottle tops. The visits to Johnson's the paper shop, which was just a stone's throw away from where we lived and had a very distinctive smell of newspapers. The times we spent in Chrissy Wilson's wool shop in Windmill Hill Street, which was so cluttered that you could hardly move. I know for sure that it would not meet any health and safety standards today. Mrs. Wilson always appeared to know where everything was, though. The first time I tasted the best millionaire's shortbread, which my older sister made. The occasions when my mother had a £20 club at the cooperative department store, or big store as it was known locally. This was used to purchase new outfits at Easter for wearing to Sunday school. This consisted of a new coat, shoes and hat, and sometimes a proper Easter bonnet. The £20 club was also used to purchase school uniforms. The big store was amazing and seemed to sell everything. I was always fascinated by the suction machine at the till, which sent the bill and banknotes to the accounts office, and moments later spat out a tube which enclosed the receipt and change. The daily visits to Henry's the shop I frequented on my way to school to buy a packet of plain crisps for threepence and something from the penny tray. I did like value for money. I refrained from buying flavoured crisps as they were fourpence. However, I do remember a period of time when I stopped buying crisps altogether, as Mrs. Henry, the shopkeeper, advised that if I continued to eat as many crisps, I would eventually turn into one. One morning, your mother will come to wake you up for school, and under the blankets, all she will find is a giant crisp, she advised. Really? Do adults realise the effects of the spoken word on a small child with a big imagination? The mealtimes when Uncle Alec encouraged us to eat our soup, as it would stick to our ribs. This really perplexed me, as the last thing I wanted was to be walking around with carrot, turnip, leek and barley stuck to my body. Eat up your crusts, he would say. It will give you curly hair. Really? Has this been scientifically proven? This is maybe the reason I still have to use hair straighteners on a regular basis. The days we spent on Ayr Beach, which is beautiful in the sunshine. We idled away the hours paddling, swimming, picnicking and building our dream sandcastles as the sun soothed and healed our bodies. Just listening to the sound of the great outdoors presenting itself to us made us feel totally alive. Water has a therapeutic quality of its own, bringing a sense of soothing, cleansing and healing. The weekend outings to the Mennock Pass and the Dalveen Pass, where we set up the picnic rug and enjoyed kite flying, fishing, or paddling in the river and savouring the beautiful outdoors. Being young was awesome, each day filled with brand new experiences. Summer brought warmth, excitement, and a sense of fulfillment. Sun-kissed days packed with activities that fueled the imagination. In my youth, children seemed happy and laughter filled the summer days with a warm glow of joy of simply being alive. My childhood was full of adventure, stretching the imagination and providing a platform for growth spiritually, mentally, physically and emotionally. When we did falter or need comfort, there was always someone to show genuine care, perhaps a relative, a teacher, a neighbour, or family friend. In childhood, the sky seemed bluer and brighter, almost like deep water. Friendships blossomed like flowers during the summer months. Sharing the warmth and tranquility of the season invigorated our bodies, minds and souls. After spending the day outdoors, rest in the form of sleep was such a welcome relief. Night always appeared like a deep dark blue blanket with sparkly glistening stars. The end of each day felt blissful and complete. This poem captures fond memories of my childhood. Remember the glorious days of our youth, of summers that glowed, of laughter that pealed. Remember the feeling of love in our hearts, for life in abundance, of hurt when it healed. Remember the hours we spent on the beach, the warmth of the sun, the seagulls that screech, the lapping of waves as they pound on the shore, the feeling of peace when each day was o'er. Remember the touch of a petal of rose, the scent of the honeysuckle, the songs we composed, the sky with its blueness, its brightness so deep, the love that we shared, the secrets we keep. Remember the sun as it fell from the sky into deep depths of darkness, of seas rising high. Remember the stars scattered brightly above, and sleep when it came in a blanket of love.